The Senate will receive a message from the House of Representatives.
Mr. President, a message from the House of Representatives.
Mr. President, I have been directed by the House of Representatives to inform the Senate the House has passed H-Res 798, a resolution appointing and authorizing managers for the impeachment trial of Donald John Trump, President of the United States.
The message will be received.
Mr. President.
The Majority Leader.
I ask unanimous consent that pursuant to Rule 1 of the Rules and Procedure and Practice, when sitting on impeachment trials, the Secretary of the Senate informed the House of Representatives that the Senate is ready to receive the managers appointed by the House for the purpose of exhibiting articles of impeachment against Donald John Trump, President of the United States, agreeably to the notice communicated to the Senate. Further, that at the hour of 12 noon on Thursday, January 16, 2020, the Senate will receive the managers on the part of the House of Representatives in order that they may present and exhibit the articles of impeachment against Donald John Trump, President of the United States.
Is there any objection? If not, so ordered.
I ask unanimous consent that pursuant to Rules 3 and 4 of the Rules of Procedure and Practice, when sitting on impeachment trials, that at the hour of 2 p.m. on Thursday, January 16, 2020, the Senate proceed to the consideration of the articles of impeachment, and that the presiding officer, through the Secretary of the Senate, notify the Chief Justice of the United States of the time and place fixed for consideration of the articles and request his attendance as presiding officer pursuant to Article 1, Section 3, Clause 6 of the U.S. Constitution.
Is there any objection? So ordered.
I ask unanimous consent that the presiding officer be authorized to appoint a committee of senators, 2 upon the recommendation of the Majority Leader and 2 upon the recommendation of the Democratic Leader, to escort the Chief Justice into the Senate chamber. I further ask consent that the Secretary of the Senate be directed to notify the House of Representatives of the time and place fixed for the Senate to proceed upon the impeachment of Donald John Trump in the Senate chamber.
Is there any objection? If not, so ordered.
I ask unanimous consent that access to the Senate wing, the Senate floor, and the Senate chamber galleries during all of the proceedings involving the exhibition of consideration of the articles of impeachment against Donald John Trump, President of the United States, and all times that the Senate is sitting in trial with the Chief Justice of the United States presiding, be in accordance with the allocations and provisions I now send to the desk, and I ask that it be printed in the record.
Is there objection? If not, so ordered.
I ask unanimous consent the Senate proceed to the consideration of S-Res 471 submitted earlier today.
The clerk will report.
Senate Resolution 471, authorizing the taking of a photograph in the chamber of the United States Senate.
Is there objection to proceeding to the consideration? Without objection, then the Senate will proceed.
I ask unanimous consent the resolution be agreed to and the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Without objection, so ordered.
Now, Mr. President, for the information of all senators, a few minutes ago, the Senate was notified that the House of Representatives is finally ready to proceed with their articles of impeachment. So by unanimous consent, we have just laid some of the groundwork that will structure the next several days. We've officially invited the House managers to come to the Senate tomorrow at noon to exhibit their articles of impeachment. Then later tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m., the Chief Justice of the United States will arrive here in the Senate. He will be sworn in by the President pro tem, Senator Grassley. Then the Chief Justice will swear in all of us senators. We'll pledge to rise above the petty factionalism and do justice for our institutions, for our states, and for the nation. And then we will formally notify the White House of our pending trial and summon the President to answer the articles and send his counsel. So the trial will commence in earnest on Tuesday. But first, Mr. President, some important good news for the country. We anticipate the Senate will finish the USMCA tomorrow and send this landmark trade deal to President Trump for his signature. A major victory for the administration, but more importantly, for American families. So let me close with this. This is a difficult time for our country, but this is precisely the kind of time for which the framers created the Senate. I'm confident this body can rise above short-termism and factional fever and serve the long-term best interest of our nation. We can do this, and we must.